script? Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. So official hello and welcome to IPHA's third Thursday Lunch and Learn web series. We dedicate this time every month to sharing public health successes in Iowa and even some of the detours it may have taken to get there. The point is to connect, learn, and strengthen the voice for public health in Iowa. We're glad you're here, and we hope you'll come back with a friend next month. If you're not a member of IPHA yet, please consider joining so we can continue to bring you opportunities like these to stay aware of the great work happening across the state. Today, we're talking to Stacie Schroeder. Stacie is an advanced certified prevention specialist and the executive director of the North Fayette County Community Coalition. She's one of several leaders on behalf of that coalition of the Healthy Fayette County Coalition. So don't get them confused. One is North Fayette County Community Coalition, but Stacie's comments are going to focus around her participation and work in the Healthy Fayette County Coalition. So we learned about Stacie and her work through Jess Wegner, a friend and member of APHA or IPHA. So she was the public health coordinator for Fayette County and recently moved to Iowa HHS, where we wish her well. But before heading there, she talked about the great work of this coalition and its partners, and especially what they're doing on nicotine prevention. Their work also includes vaping and is focused on both nicotine vaping and THC vaping. So many of you know that next month is the annual Great American Smokeout organized by the American Cancer Society. It's annual on the third Thursday of every November. And so this month, or excuse me, this year, it's November 21st. November is also known as Lung Cancer Prevention Month, which includes smoking and vaping, but also radon exposure awareness and air quality. We won't get into that today, but we can't forget about those things. So we hope that the ideas from this community effort will inspire your own. If you intend to promote nicotine and tobacco related prevention work next month or in the future, it's also a great opportunity to consult a person who is well versed on coalition dynamics, planning, and strategies for engagement. So let's ask Stacie questions about how to get groups of people together to do good work as well. Housekeeping items, please be sure to put your microphone on mute and turn off your video so everyone is able to enjoy the presentation and the discussion. If you have any questions for Stacie, you can put them in the chat and we can field them there, or you can take yourself off mute and chime in. Maybe wait until after the presentation, or if Stacie pauses to ask for questions. So with that, Stacie, you have the floor, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm glad it worked out to be here. I think it's always exciting to share information with new organizations, with new people, because there's always something to learn, right? And so we are constantly learning, and we hope you are as well. So as was mentioned, my name is Stacie Schroeder. I am with the North Fayette Valley Community Coalition. We are a small community coalition serving the needs of substance use prevention and mental health awareness in the North Fayette Valley School District. We are members of Healthy Fayette County, which is our county-wide coalition. We are also members of the Iowa Alliance of Coalitions for Change, which is the statewide coalition. I've been doing prevention work for about 12 years and currently serving as the director here at the NFVCC. So to tell you a little bit about Healthy Fayette County, it was originally started as the Fayette County Substance Abuse Coalition in 2000. If any of you have ever read the book Methland, that was based in Fayette County in the community of Olwine. And so people had kind of pulled together to talk about that methamphetamine epidemic. The IDPH grants, IDPH at that time, now Iowa HHS grants, really guided the activities of the coalition. In 2022, we made some choices to really kind of revamp the coalition, and we changed the name to Healthy Fayette County. kind of reorganized the structure and had about a year and a half of some strategic planning meetings in which we looked at the data. We really assessed, what was important in our community, what we wanted to really work on. And so from that, 3 work groups were born of Healthy Fayette County. They were our nutrition, prevention, and mental health. Those 3 work groups meet monthly along with our leadership team. And then we have quarterly kind of education meetings that the community and the coalition as a whole are invited to. So the nutrition work group, the mission is on there. Really the focus of the nutrition work group is to share resources, provide education on nutrition, and increase the access to a variety of foods, most namely healthy foods. This work group has worked really hard to provide a poverty simulation. They've worked to engage new communities in the county in summer meal programs, working with existing care closets and trying to establish new care closets that also have snack boxes. So some additional resources for young people, community gardens, and that coordination of donations to food pantries. They've done a couple different coupon programs for local farmers markets, both for youth and older adults. They have also done some promotion of local pantries, just making sure that people understand that those are resources available, and then done a variety of seed projects, planter gardening, all of that stuff to teach some gardening skills. The prevention work group focuses primarily on child abuse prevention and also substance use prevention. You can see from the pictures here, this is from the big project for that work group each year, and it's the Teen Prevention Maze. It's 12 rooms. We hold this at Upper Iowa University in Fayette in their ballroom. These rooms are set up with PVC pipes and curtains, and it really takes the work of the entire county to host those 12 educational rooms on maybe things that young people should avoid, resources available, kind of all of that. We continue to work on prescription drug take-back events, and we're currently working on an over-the-dose campaign, so making sure that we're getting rid of those prescription drugs in safe ways. We did the Summer Fun and Alcohol campaign this year, that reminder that while maybe sometimes both of those are involved in our summer fun and alcohol. When they combine too much, that it kind of makes things unsafe. We hosted an ODMAP overdose detection software training for our EMS, fire, health providers, law enforcement, and others, really trying to get them to do some data tracking on when possible fatal poisonings or even prescription poisonings are happening. We've hosted partnered to host a family movie event to raise awareness on child abuse. And then we've also hosted an adverse childhood experiences training. So our mental health work group, this really was formed from a team of mental health, people interested in mental health that were quite concerned that we were seeing the same situations over and over, and maybe the safety nets that we wanted to be there weren't there. This group has worked hard in the promotion of the Make It Okay campaign. We have established mental health awareness week activities in all 4 of our county high schools. We've identified funding and established transportation options for mental health services. We continue to coordinate with providers on just some of those gaps in services and maybe where we can be of support. And we have hosted Emma Benoit and a showing of the film My Ascension. One really cool tidbit, if you've seen the green rubber ducks from the Make It Okay campaign, that was actually born of our NFVCC high school leadership team. When they were asked the swag that they wanted, they thought green ducks made a lot of sense, and it's caught some traction in the state. So we're super proud of that. So about the NFVCC, we were created in August of 2000. Youth really wanted positive peer pressure instead of all of maybe the pressure to do things they didn't want to do. The initial meeting that was held was over 100 people, and then IDPH, now IHHS, was present as well. We were awarded a Drug-Free Communities grant in 2002, and then in 2015, our service area changed Previously, we were the Valley Community Coalition serving the Valley School District. When the merge happened, we became the North Fayette Valley Community School District. We again received a drug-free communities grant from the federal government in 2018, and we're now year 7 grantees. And we have 4 subgroups that we work within: mentoring, youth leadership, parent education, and community. So youth leadership, we have a team at both our high school and our middle school. We have a variety of projects. At the beginning of the year, we brainstorm, we talk through what's going on with young people, what information do they want to share with their peers, what do they think their peers want more information on. And each year we kind of come up with the same things. They work to educate on alcohol and nicotine, reducing mental health stigma, the Make It Okay campaign, of course, is something we continue to support. And we have been working on the Bandana project as well, just kind of a mental health resources support. Each year we have a mental health awareness week. We really focus on education of healthy relationships, which include teen dating and also friendships. A lot of times young people tell us that we don't necessarily know how to end a friendship that we don't know or that we know is not good for us. So we talk a lot about that. We host guest speakers, focus groups, and substance-free activities. The youth leadership team, of course, again, works on the Make It Okay partnership. You can see here a picture of a basketball game that our high school students wore the green Make It Okay t-shirts in support. We've got vape-free Valentines. We go to the Capitol each February for Capitol Hill Day and work to educate our legislators on the things that are happening in our communities. You can see the Play Healthy program. We try to promote playing healthy in parks and maybe not necessarily consuming alcohol, nicotine, and other substances. And then the pledges to remain nicotine-free. Our youth mentoring program is a community-based and school-based program. We match K through 12 youth, matches commit to the entire year and participate in activities around 4 to 6 hours each month. And the way that we fund this, we're super proud of this. Each year we host the Turkey River Classic Golf Tournament and Charity event, and it raises about $25,000 every year, which funds that program entirely. And we just had our 18th year in August. So pretty cool there. Community, we work a lot in the community to provide education on not only substance use trends, but also what those consequences are, the availability of the products, the prevalence of use, kind of all of that. We do focus on creating community level change. So we're always looking at policies, ordinances, codes, things that change the environment for everybody. We use a lot of data to inform on our areas of focus. For currently our drug-free communities, we're focused on underage drinking, nicotine use, and also cannabis use. We work with the school district on youth mental health first aid. We're super excited and proud of the fact that the North Fayette Valley School District works closely with us to get their teachers and staff trained in youth mental health first aid at the beginning of every school year. The NFECC was instrumental in establishing summer meal sites in West Union, Fayette, and Wadena, and also in starting the Open Hands Food Pantry in West Union. And we work a lot on guest speakers, and I'm going to share some information about a recent guest speaker as we go. The last subgroup is our parent support. We know that parents are a significant influence in keeping young people from trying substances. We provide a lot of information on tips with talking with youth, consequences of that use, definitely act as a resource. We do have our parent education classes, which can be topic specific, but we do also provide Love and Logic as a parent education class, always trying to keep up with the newest trends, those substance-free pledges. And we do have a trailer, the Hidden in Plain Sight Mock Teenager's Bedroom, that we take around to community events and work on some parent education with that as well. Any questions on that so far? It's kind of a little break there.
Remind me again how long this coalition has been.
Since 2000, August of 2000.
Oh, it's very active. That's great.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to vaping. So I'm going to share with you a lot of pictures that were taken from our local gas stations. The one here on the right is, in fact, one of our local gas stations. It's a fairly new owner, but you can see a wide variety of vaping products, and then also all the alcohol shooters off to the bottom right. But this is one of our stores. So some use data, what we look at here in Fayette County, when asking, this is from the most recent Iowa Youth Survey, when asking young people if you've ever used an e-cigarette, you'll see for our sixth graders, eighth graders, they're a little higher than the state rate, something we kind of always keep an eye on. 11th graders are right in line with the state rate. Looking at our marijuana use rates, these have ticked up slightly. They're still similar to state rates, a little below it in some cases, but we're seeing some increases in use on the marijuana side. The next thing we look at, and we follow quite a bit, is youth perception of risk of harm. If young people don't think they're at risk of harm when using a substance, they're more likely to do it. So this is something we watch as well. These numbers tend to kind of adjust, and then the use rates go up. The youth belief that their parents would disapprove of their marijuana use. We are actually less than the state rate on all of those age groups. Which again is concerning if they don't think that they're at harm. That may translate to use kind of later on. Fayette County students reporting most or all of their peers would think it's okay to use marijuana. You can see we're a little higher than the state rate on some and much lower than the state rate when it comes to 11th graders. So again, some things that we track. So vaping in general is a popular trend that really continues to evolve from those initial clunky, old looking, very heavy cigarettes that lit up with a red light at the end to today's vaping devices. It has definitely evolved in a short period of time. Vapes are popular because they're small, they're discreet, they have a little to no odor, although we all smell the strawberry shortcake when somebody walks by and they're using one or whatever it is, the fruity scents. It has become a very normalized delivery of nicotine and other substances, and we really attribute this to the media. Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, all of those are readily available sources of information, not only to adults for using these, but also young people. Vapes can include nicotine, which of course is a very popular form of vapes, flavored oils without nicotine. Cannabis is a rising kind of popular vaping product. They can contain THC, CBD, CBN, Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, and kind of all the varieties of THC, THC, O, A, X, P. There's many, many varieties of products available. But we do also know that heroin, methamphetamine, hallucinogenic products, and synthetics are also available in vaping devices, many of them in our local stores. The most common use remains nicotine, but we're seeing some increase in the others. And looking at a vape device does not tell you what's in it. That is one thing parents are definitely learning as well. So vaping simulates smoking. It includes a battery-powered vape device, which forms an alcohol or an aerosol. It looks like water vapor, but that is all chemicals. The aerosol is inhaled into the lungs, where the body then absorbs it. And as I had mentioned, the earliest vape devices look like those clunky, heavy cigarettes. Today, they're much more mod box based disposables. They're not even really the sleek, slim jewels anymore, but there's many varieties out there. So this is an anatomy of a vape. This is an older looking vape pen, but it does kind of cover the basics of what works. They have a battery. They are rechargeable most times. They do heat the product to about 400 degrees in just a matter of seconds. The sensors, of course, turn on when somebody's puffing on the device. So it kicks on the battery. It starts heating the liquid that's in it. The atomizer is what makes the vapor. So it kind of creates that little cloud. And the cartridge, of course, is what's holding the e-liquid that is used. You can see along the bottom some of the different forms. The e-liquid is more of what we see sold in vape shops. It goes into mod boxes. They can refill as much as they want. The cartridges are mostly what we deal with, kind of single use, cartridges that they purchase right from the gas station, charge, use, throw away when they're done. Vaporizers, these are some things that are out there. They're for the little bit more savvy user, but these vaporizers can be used for both e-liquids and green leafy bud products as well. So e-liquids, as I mentioned, those are typically purchased in vape shops. The e-liquid is in a larger bottle, although every liquid is an e-liquid, I guess I should clarify. We just see the larger bottles of e-liquid. Those tend to come from vape shops. In the cartridges or in the devices themselves, the e-liquid is self-contained. You can't really, without modifying the whole thing, get to it or change it. But that e-liquid is what's converted into an aerosol by that vaporizer, the battery, the heating of it. It's typically a mixture of water flavoring, whatever the drug is, whether it's THC, CBD, or nicotine, and then propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin. The propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin are used to simulate that tobacco smoke. And the more that you want of a puff or a plume, the more you would add of that mixture. And there's many slang terms, juice, smoke juice, that we hear young people use them for. The one thing that I will tell, well, we'll talk about flavors in a second. Sorry. So these are some examples of e-liquids. The reason we point these out is because you can see the fun, fruity flavors. They're the ones on the upper right, very much look like the Fanta sodas that young people tend to love. Fruity, fun, not a big deal. Birthday cake flavor, Fruit Loops, Pink Starburst. These are all flavors that when I think of them, I think of young people. So THC versus nicotine vapes. The regular e-liquid, as you can see, has that propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, some nicotine and flavors. The cannabis e-liquid probably has some flavors as well, but you can see that it's some combination of cannabidiol, CBD, and THC. So cannabis, marijuana, THC, we kind of use all those terms interchangeably. The green leafy marijuana bud, of course, is the dried flowers of the cannabis plant. THC is the main psychoactive chemical. THC and the terpenes, and there's a big push on the terpenes, that's what makes marijuana smell like marijuana, are extracted. They're also synthesized and created and put into vape products, and even put into gummies and other products. People are after the terpenes. The stronger it smells, they believe the stronger it's going to be, and it's kind of a desired effect a lot of times of those products. There's lots of concentrates out there, and on the left, you'll see some of them, the crumble, shatter, wax, and keef. Those have high dosages of THC. Marijuana contains much more THC than hemp. We're going to talk a little bit about the Farm Bill and what consumable hemp kind of brought about. And of course, the slang terms for this are weed, herb, pot, grass, bud, ganja, Mary Jane. There's tons and tons of those out there. Things that I probably don't even know, I'm sure. Dabbing is using concentrates. They can use them with those vaporizers, but also dab pens, pipes. You can see a dab rig or like a bong to use concentrates. The quote on the last paragraph, I always like to share, THC concentrates are as close to the cannabis plant as strawberries are to frosted strawberry Pop-Tarts. And this is from a researcher at the University of Washington, Addictions, Drug, and Alcohol Institute. So definitely concentrates are of concern, and that is because of the high potency of those products. CBD stands for cannabidiol. It's derived from cannabis, marijuana, and hemp. It is the main ingredient in hemp. It's the second main ingredient in marijuana. So that's kind of the distinction between the two. And those lines have really been blurred in recent years as the industry works to promote their products and also legalize them. We in Iowa do have a medical cannabidiol program. A paperwork needs to be submitted to HHS with a certifying condition. Applicants receive a card and purchases can be made at one of 5 approved dispensaries. And I always point out that's not gas stations. We're not addressing all of our ailments and with products from gas stations. As I mentioned, the 2018 Farm Bill increased access to those consumable hemp products. The intent was to allow hemp farmers to grow their products and introduce them in a variety of products. Ultimately, what happened though is we kind of got hung up on this 0.3% THC, and consumable hemp became essentially legalized marijuana in any state where it was not already legalized. A huge problem with the Farm Bill was that there were no age restrictions. And so, and we had this happen in our community, our largest community. We had 14-year-olds that were purchasing consumable hemp THC products in our local gas stations, and there was no law that restricted them from doing that. The other part of the Farm Bill that kind of opened up some areas of concern is that there was then no oversight. We have no idea what's really in these products. Nobody's reviewing them, researching them. There is no oversight under that. So early this year, House File 2605 was passed in the state of Iowa. This became effective July 1st. Our coalition did a lot of work on this with educating our local legislators and also on the state level, really working with the Department of Public Safety to kind of see this through. It changed of the Delta 9 THC. You can have no more than 4 milligrams per serving, 10 milligrams per container. Those synthetic cannabinoids, so the Delta 8, Delta 10, THCP, HHC, THCO, all of those no longer able to be sold in any product in the state of Iowa. Warning labels are required, similar to alcohol warning labels, saying that they should stay out of use of children. Pregnant women should not be using them. All flower and raw bud products were prohibited. You now must be 21 to purchase them, and all consumable hemp retailers must be licensed with the Department of Revenue. On this picture is the climbing kites. Before HF 2605, climbing kites contained 10 milligrams of THC per drink and 10 milligrams of CBD. For us locally and working with youth, the reason this was a problem is because it was sold in the same coolers as energy drinks. Looks fun, great flavors, strawberry lemonade, prickly pear. And we were always concerned that people didn't really know what they were purchasing until, they were already into the product. So increasing potency remains a huge area of concern for us. When Juul pods first came out, they had around 200 puffs, the same as a pack of cigarettes. Today's devices, the common, not extra size or plus devices, have around 600 to 800 puffs, but many of them that are available have 5,000, 7,500, even 10,000 puffs in a device. And so our concern with that always is no one knows what they're consuming until all of a sudden the device is gone. Where when you traditionally smoked a combustible cigarette, you would see the cigarette be smoked, you'd put it out, you'd throw the butt away, you'd know that you smoked one, you'd crumple up the pack when you were done. It was a little bit more visual. We no longer have that. Cannabis potency increase has also been of concern. In 1995, the average THC concentration was about 4%. In 2017, it's around 17%. And today, a lot of those concentrates and even our vapes are now in the upper 90%. So it isn't just water vapor. We hear this from youth all the time. This is a really great video, and I'm going to share it with you as well.
This is water vapor. It's made out of just water. Wow. You can't actually see it, but it's what makes air feel humid.
This is surprising all of us.
This is a vape cloud. It's an aerosol that is made of chemicals, dyes, flavorings that are meant to eat, not breathe. And ultrafine particles, including heavy metals like nickel, tin, and lead. Ew. It is not water vapor. Water vapor, not water vapor. Kind of makes you wonder what else the vaping industry is lying about.
So like I said, kind of short and sweet, but we hear this a lot. Isn't it just water vapor? So health effects of nicotine vaping, it's highly addictive. It actually can change a developing young person's brain and helps that addiction set in much more quickly. 80% of calls to the U.S. poison control centers in the past year have been involving nicotine, have been for children less than 5 years old. We do know that toddlers have been hospitalized and also died as a result of that nicotine exposure. Using nicotine during adolescence can harm parts of the brain that control attention, learning, mood, and impulse control, which is already kind of wonky when it comes to teens, right? And this complicates that more. And young people who vape are more likely to use cigarettes in the future. Cannabis vaping, there's lots of health effects of that as well. One of the new things that we've learned about in the past probably 5 to 8 years is cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. It's kind of like morning sickness, severe morning sickness, that vomiting, very nauseous for people that are heavy cannabis users, obviously respiratory symptoms, and some oral health issues, heart problems as well. When we ask young people why they use, there's a variety of areas there: stress relief, relaxation, their friends are using it, their parents are using it and giving it to them, the media messaging, the flavors, right? So back in the day, if you tried something, maybe you smoked a cigarette, you took it from grandpa or whatever, tasted horrible, right? We put it out, we threw it away, we're like, whoa, that tastes terrible. Young people today, when the flavors they're getting is blue raspberry and grape and chocolate donut and all of these things, the body's normal reaction to shut it off and to say, whoa, not safe for me, I don't want to use it, isn't there. And so that is of concern. So research shows some correlations with cannabis vaping among youth. We're seeing some increases and just because you do one doesn't mean you're going to do the other, of course. But alcohol use, non-medical prescription use, illicit drug use, impulsivity, openness to new experiences and sensation seeking, delinquent behavior, low grade point average, low disapproval of nicotine vaping, maybe smoking cannabis, low perceived risk of cannabis use. So those are kind of some correlations that have been shown. Vaping in the media, vaping has become extremely popular because of the media. They've done a great job with using young people and influencers to promote these products. Between apps, social media sites, Snapchat, a lot is shown on there, and sometimes there's even filters. Jewel had been doing filters on Snapchat. News, print media, movie, songs, TV shows, commercials are all promoting these products. Here's some headlines: psychosis, vaping may open the door to cannabis use, marijuana use in classrooms. That's something we deal with as well. More young adults vaping soon after waking up. Vaping marijuana associated with more symptoms of lung damage than vaping or smoking nicotine. Overdose on cannabis edibles. Lots and lots of headlines out there. So of concern, and something that we work on quite a bit, is the accessibility and affordability of these programs. You can see the Juice Head Max is being sold for $12. It's got a variety of fun flavors, and it has 10,000 puffs. Again, remember, a pack of cigarettes has about 200 puffs, and they average about $7 a pack. These vapes, 10,000 puffs, $12, can be purchased online. The Prime Bar disposable, $13, 8,000 puffs, and the Triple Berry Ice on sale for $9.99 and 5,000 puffs. These are some THC products, also can be purchased online. The Delta 8 THC disposable vape, $40. Oh, the reason I put this on there is because you can make payments on it. So the 4 interest-free payments with Zezzels. So you don't even have to have all the money up front. You can make payments. The vape pen is cookie milk. And this was a coupon on this website that you can get 20% off of the edibles, the gummy cubes. So Kratom is something that has been around for a long time. We have talked about it as preventionists for quite a while in some of our larger communities, and it now has made its way to our community. Kratom is a tropical tree native to Southeast Asia. It is illegal to be consumed in those Southeast Asian countries, but we here in the free spirit of capitalism have allowed it to be used kind of everywhere. It produces both stimulant effects in low doses and sedative effects in high doses. It can lead to psychotic symptoms and dependence. There's some undesirable effects, but it does cause that high. People do take kratom to ease the symptoms of opioid withdrawal, and there is no FDA approval for kratom. However, it is not illegal yet in Iowa. So there is no end, the new psilocybins. The big push right now, especially with the changes with the consumable hemp laws, are the Amanita muscaria mushrooms. Those are available in gummies, teas, and vapes. The muscimol is the active ingredient. It is a psychotropic. It changes behavior in the perception, mood, and cognition. It is not scheduled under the Controlled Substances Act, so therefore it's not illegal, but it's also not legal. It's still kind of just sitting out there in a loophole. Blue Lotus, we had a guest speaker at the end of September who had come in and had done some scans and checked some things out. Blue Lotus, this was the first time she had ever seen it. It is a flower with links to Egypt and Asia. It impacts the dopamine receptors. It's similar to cannabis. You can see it's being sold under the brand name Mental Health. And this is from the seller's page. It says it's THC free, Delta free, HHC free, mushroom free. We're expecting, and Melissa Moore was our guest speaker, that this is going to be the answer to the consumable hemp and hopefully mushroom regulations, as they've now already found the next product. Caffeine is something we continue to work on. 5-hour energy drinks in the past year have been linked to 13 deaths in the country. Of course, it causes heart palpitations, rapid heart rate, high blood pressure. The taurine and whatever this other word is have not really been studied yet, but you see these 5-hour energy drinks in gas stations all over. They are inexpensive. They are $2, $3, $4 a piece, and they are large amounts of caffeinated products. The other thing that we focus on, as I mentioned, is underage drinking. We are always working to educate on this, youth-friendly brands, fruit and candy flavors, the youthful packaging. You can see like the Lipton hard iced tea. You might on first glance think that that is just a Lipton tea, but this one, of course, has alcohol. Truly has a whole line of ice creams available, alcohol ice creams. Cardi B, of course, in the whip shots, vodka, Cool Whip, or yeah, Cool Whip. The fun fruity flavors definitely pertain to youth, and a lot of them have caffeine in them. So like the hard Mountain Dew. We were just talking about this on a presentation that I was a part of a couple weeks ago. It is estimated that young people are getting highly intoxicated on as little as $11. Like these 4 packs of Sunny D, high alcohol content. There's 4 drinks in a container, and you can buy them for $9.99. You can become extremely intoxicated without a lot of money anymore. So some challenges to prevention, the things that we are always working to navigate, of course, the access and availability of all of those products, whether it's vaping products or alcohol. There's money to be made, right? And so it's hard to navigate that. The use of those products in public places, and Deborah and I had talked about this a little bit. This group had a lot to do with the Smoke-Free Air Act years ago, and we're super appreciative of that in the prevention field. Unfortunately, that doesn't include vaping yet, and so we continue to kind of work on stuff like that. The cultural considerations, perception of vaping as low risk, and we looked at some of that risk stuff in regards to cannabis. Marketing, it's everywhere, right? Social media and all of the things we listen to and watch. And then the regulatory environment, I pointed out several areas where the laws just aren't there yet in this whack-a-mole that we live in. So what the NFVCC is doing, and also with that, Healthy Fayette County, we have an organized team to educate our community, engage those that can make change, and empower youth to make those healthy behaviors. We work a lot on educating parents and community members. We visit regularly, both myself and young people with legislators. We've been working on promoting a tax on vaping devices. There's currently not a single tax on any of those devices, which further lead to the accessibility when it comes to the dollar amount. We work closely with our school. We have intervention and prevention curriculums. We're always looking to kind of fill those gaps when it comes to treatment and interventions for both nicotine and marijuana use. We work to encourage referrals and educate retailers on what may be on their shelves. We found a lot of times with our small retailers that they have no idea what's going on these products. They're just told to sell it. And especially with our larger chains, Casey's and stuff like that, it comes to them in boxes. They're given a sticker, they put it on the shelf, and nobody really knows what it is. So what can you do? Obviously sharing with others what you've learned. Join your community or county coalition. Every one of you have one because every county has one or should have one through funding with HHS. We do, if you're interested, have a prevention conference coming up November 7th in Des Moines through the Iowa Alliance of Coalitions for Change. Always ask questions, share information about My Life, My Quit or Quitline Iowa for those trying to quit, and always work to be a good example and consider quitting yourself. One other thing I wanted to point out for you guys, that environmental scans are a great way to learn what's going on in your community. You can do them with retailers and also at events. And I'll show you quickly. So the retailer scans we do with our young people. And so they will go into retailer store and they will start looking at what is there, what can we see, how is it being promoted. I think I'll just share this link with you guys in the chat. And then we also have event scans. This was from Penny at Employee and Family Resources and shared via AC4C. The event scans are adults would do them. We did a lot of them during the fair, and it really kind of gives us some data and information about what's going on in the environment. How are youth accessing it? What should we be looking at? Where's some areas that maybe we can improve safety? So I will share those with you guys. And so now it's time for questions. What questions do you have for me?
Excellent information, Stacie. Wow, there was a lot in there. All right, I will start with one question, but I want people to be thinking about your own, or even just sharing with Stacie comments and kudos, and you know, let's just have a conversation. I'm just kind of marveling at the longevity and the number of successes of this coalition, Stacie, and I wonder, you know, off the top of your head, what are some like key elements or characteristics about this coalition that makes it so successful? You see a lot of coalitions burn out and finish up, you know?
Yeah. So I think definitely throughout the 24 years of this coalition, there's been probably 3 or 4 key people who have really always worked to kind of, they've been our champions, right? So they've always done kind of the behind the scenes work to make sure that it happens. I think another really key factor of success for us has been our relationship with our school district. We have had changes in administrations and, you know, teachers and such, but there's always been a strong level of support from our school district. And so when that gives us the access to young people and we're partnering and we're sharing information, that has been key. And I think also following the data and really understanding the problem and how they change, and how maybe next year we won't be focused on this, but we need to, you know, readdress another situation that we dealt with, you know, not just taking things for granted and pushing things out, but making sure that they really do address the needs of the community. Because when people are saying this is a problem, then it's always easier to kind of find those champions where it's not just us saying you need to work on this.
Yeah, great point. Other questions for Stacie?
The furnaces in pieces? Well, I don't know, is that the air conditioner or is that the furnace?
That is the furnace.
Oh, someone's talking about their furnace and I can't see to mute, so please mute. Are there like
Do you want us to just ask questions or?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Stacie. This was great. I've been working in tobacco prevention and control for about 16 years. I think, so I'm a tobacco grantee through the state. I think, isn't it Ashley in your area, helping
It is,
services or
yes.
something like that?
Yes.
Okay. And so when I saw your name, I was like, wait a minute, who is this? This is awesome. Yeah, I echo what somebody else said about the way this coalition has grown. So I have two very specific things to ask you. One, are you funded primarily by grants? And is it 4 of you that are on staff?
So there are 3 of us currently. We are the largest part of our funding is the drug-free communities. So we have
Sure.
the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. There we go. Woo!
Yeah.
We receive a federal drug-free communities grant each year. It's $125,000, and that funds the majority of my time and one other person. And then we do our mentoring program is entirely off of fundraising. So that's our Turkey River Classic.
Sure. Yeah.
We built a brand new building. So the building I'm in is our youth center and also our office space. So we built this building in 2016. It cost us about $300,000, and about 75% of that was entirely from fundraising at the point that we had built it. And we now have community members who make monthly donations that help us cover our monthly mortgage. We're down to only a year and a half left of mortgage payments. So we're super excited for that. But yeah, definitely our community from a financial standpoint does support us.
And you're in little old Elgin, right?
Yeah. So yeah, this is the location. And the reason we ended up in Elgin is because the school donated land to us, 4/10 of an acre. And we built our youth center on the grounds of the middle school and Valley Elementary. So we do also have office space that a community business provides for us in West Union. And so that, allows us to have kind of both sides of the district covered. So the biggest bulk of our expense is covered by that DFC grant. And then local grants, our county supervisors give us a small donation each year. But a lot of fundraising as well.
Yeah, I hear people all the time saying, we need to have this youth center and we need to do this and we need to do that. And you don't see as much of that happening anymore, the youth center type.
Yeah.
There's nonprofit organizations, sure, in our community that have like some very specific hangout type things, but yeah.
So I will tell you that the youth center from what it used to be, so our youth center early on in the coalition age, was the place to be on Saturday nights, right? There'd be 60 plus high school students hanging out. It was in the upstairs of what was an old dance hall, pool tables and, couches and chairs and, ping pong and all this stuff. But now, and when we built this youth center, we thought it was going to continue to be the same thing. But what we have now learned is young people have all this stuff in their basement. They have Wii's and PlayStations and pool tables and ping pong and air hockey. They have all of this stuff. And so we've really kind of changed what that looks like. So now it's at least twice a month. The middle school students come down after school, those that are part of the youth leadership team, but also the friends that they bring in, whatever. And so we really focus their work on, we feed them, then we do some focused activities, we talk about some stuff, and then they get to do kind of the hangout thing. We rent the space out. Any nonprofit or youth serving organization can use our building for free. And so we do have various professionals who maybe meet with young people in this space. We have like ISU Extension next week is doing a babysitting class. The Fayette County Conservation is doing hunter safety. So we really work to make it just a safe space for all the activities. So we don't have 60 plus kiddos here on Saturday nights anymore, but we try to make it kind of a resource location throughout the week and a variety of projects.
Yeah. Okay, now another really specific one. Sorry, I'm hogging all the time.
Yeah.
Kratom. I'm in Iowa City. Work for Johnson County Public Health, and the Iowa City they just voted the second vote to ban kratom.
Yes.
And it is not an area I know much about. I
Yeah.
have a substance use prevention folks in town that have kind of worked on it a little bit, but
Yeah.
could you give a brief, like what the drug-free communities folks say, or what you would say if you were talking to this council? I think they're really looking for some support. And also, those Kratom Association people are organized. That city council
Yeah.
meeting, you all, they have people from all over the country phone in
Yeah.
and talk for their 3 minutes.
Yeah. So the cannabis industry has been the same. They're some of the most organized, well-funded, they've got people that are paid to do every aspect of everything, where we're preventionists working off $125,000 grants between all of us, right? So that is the field, obviously, that we work in. Kratom, I've heard a lot about it. It's fairly new to me, but there are, obviously focusing on the deaths, the hospitalizations. If I was presenting this, I would focus on the data, right? That the hardcore stuff, that public health numbers that we can give them. There are definitely stories out there. I know Katya is one of the people that's working on this, trying to kind of get some of those stories. Typically, how I advocate or how the coalition, how we approach that is I will work with young people to really understand what are the things that they're hearing. So when we're talking to a legislator about the need to increase pricing on vaping, we ask young people to tell us, like, what does that mean? Or how do you think it would change if the prices were to be increased? And we will use kind of their stories and information. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot on Kratom. I don't know that I can
No,
answer
don't
it
feel badly.
specifically,
I think that's just how it is right now. That's why
but
I wanted to ask you for a different opinion.
and that's how we got the medical cannabidiol program in Iowa, right? They used the stories. We had parents who were concerned about their children with intractable seizures not having access to medications. And so they use those stories to, get as much traction as they did. So trying to identify those situations and stories is probably going to be key to keeping that on the path that it's on.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great question, Susan. I love your participation and enthusiasm each time you join. Okay, so Gloria had a question too, Stacie. She wanted to know how closely you work with your local elected officials, like your supervisors and your city council members.
Yes, so we're just at the supervisors meeting on Monday, establishing October 23rd through the 31st as Red Ribbon Week. A declaration was signed for that, a proclamation, I guess, rather. We work with them. We've been asked for some information and input on the opioid settlement dollars, which have not yet panned out. I just had a conversation with them on Monday. They were talking about in another conversation, waiting to find out what the cool trend is going to be that everybody's going to spend these opioid dollars on. And I shared with them that in 1 year's time, our middle school students have reported a 1% increase in using prescriptions, not their own or differently than prescribed. And our high school students have reported a 2.5% increase. And so I encourage them to not wait for the next big thing, because if we do, all we're going to be doing is working our way through a treatment process. So we will touch base regularly. I try to share information, try to make us available for resources and information. We will from time to time. One time we worked with the supervisors. We had some questions following a drug take back with Healthy Fayette County that people were trying to figure out how to get rid of syringes. And so we were working with the county supervisors on what that looks like in our county. So we definitely probably coordinate with the supervisors more than councils, but we do, as we're looking for codes and ordinances and promotion of safe spaces and all of that, go to our councils and educate them, ask them to consider things, and that's kind of here and there as time allows. Does that answer that question?
I guess so. I have a question about it. It seems to me the way that you speak that advocacy is inherently recognized as part of your duty as a coalition member. Are there coalition members who kind of have other members do it and they stay back and say, for political reasons, I can't participate in this or what have you? Or is that just kind of like known, maybe by way of culture after 24 years, that if you're rolling into this, you will be expected to have hard conversations or join somebody else's softball coalition?
So I am the one that really spearheads the advocacy portion of that, and working with young people to really, kind of share their voice and their concerns. Others in the coalition are not as engaged. And even within the county coalition, that hasn't really maybe necessarily been a focus of theirs. But I have situated myself in various different groups that is a big part of what I do, is kind of that policy discussion, education, advocacy. So yeah, that's kind of maybe one of my areas of interest, and that's kind of where I found myself. But other
Thank you
people,
for being there.
we
It's
have
hard.
tried. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have tried, even getting coalition members to send like an email, or, there's a lot of fear of saying the wrong thing or not knowing what it is that you're going to talk about. It definitely helps when I can prepare some things for them, or when we meet in person, and we will do that from time to time here, just meet locally with the legislator, make it extremely informal. They kind of know a little bit more about what they're having a conversation about. They tend to feel a little more comfortable with that. But we will have coffees here at our youth center and invite a legislator. It's difficult to get them to show up sometimes, but we are also super fortunate that when we go to our national conference in DC each year, we meet with our senators and representatives, and then there is from time to time that we'll be invited to meet with them when they come back here. So once you kind of make those connections, it does kind of help have that back and forth with them.
Excellent. Well, we have reached the end of our time with Stacie. I need to ask you, please, Stacie, to send your slides. They have been requested because they had such great information. I would ask you real quick to repeat the name of the statewide alliance that you mentioned having a conference for in Des Moines.
So it's the Iowa Alliance of Coalitions for Change. And when I email the slides, I can email the flyer for that as well. So Melissa Moore, who was at our presentation in September, will be one of the keynote and also session speakers as well. But it is a great conference for people just wanting to learn more about prevention work. So I'll share that information as well.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So again, Stacie, great work in Fayette County. It's so impressive. And thank you so much for sharing what you're doing so that the rest of us can get some ideas and inspiration for it. Thank you to the audience for participating at the end and for being an attentive audience and for sharing your time with us. So we hope everyone will come back again next month on November 21st. We're scheduled to hear from the IPHA lobbyist team, Edie Walton Government Relations, about the election results. Did you guys know there's an election coming up in November? So what happened there, and what it means for the 25 legislative session at the State House. And now our pitch as a nonprofit organization, we rely on membership dues and sustaining donors to support our mission. If you're not already a member, please consider joining IPHA. Students, if you're on the call, check with your department chair. Some of our programs around the state have funds to support your membership. It's a great resume builder. If you're a member, thank you for being a member, and we appreciate any donation that fits within your budget. You can join and give at iowapha.org, Iowa spelled out. We will have the recording of Stacie's awesome presentation. It will be archived on the Iowa Public Health Association's YouTube channel. I put a link in the chat. And you'll find any the rest of the webinars that you may have missed or want to revisit. I need to tell you about our bonus session. Anjali is coming back to us with another bonus session to promote civics. So please join us at noon on October 24th and hear more about how to make the last few days of the election cycle count so that Iowa remains a high voter participation state. And that is everything. So we will see you back here still this month. Oh, October 31st, Halloween. Sorry. Oh, geez, sorry. October 31st, come to the election conversation, the civics conversation. Okay. You guys have a good rest of your day. Stacie, again, thank you so much. I appreciate your patience and your grace.
Thank you.
Yep.
No worries.
And
Thank you.
look forward to hearing the additional or getting the additional information. And you guys know where to find us if you need anything or have ideas for lunch and learns. Y'all take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacie. That was great.